Our conversation today on the program is still on the new automotive policy. We're still x-raying the issues. I'm being joined now on the program by the Managing Director of Volkswagen Nigeria, Mr. Tokunbo Aromolaron, and the Chairman, Automobile and Allied Group of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Oseme Ogiagbe. Good morning, gentlemen, and thank you so much for coming in.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, let's look at this automotive policy. You know, we had that discussion yesterday, and now some aspects of the policy have raised concerns for licensed customs agents and freight forwarders. Now, Mr. Aromolaron, I'll come to you on this one now. Does this policy really encourage value chain of the industry or just manufacturers?
The manufacturing end is just the first segment of the industry that this policy affects. You must appreciate that at times the gains of this policy are long-term. There's always a tendency for people to look at the short end and see how it affects them negatively. But there is a much broader positive to derive from this. If you look at the impact on other value chains in the system, starting from the ability to start producing components within, which will then go into this system. Addition is the fact that there's a lot of labor being put to work, which either to people working in factories in Japan, China, South Korea, and the like. A few people might think that there might be a slight decrease in volume for them, but that's in the short term. Because instead of fully built, fairly used vehicles being brought in, you're going to also have components and knockdown parts being brought in. So they're still going to have business. It's just not in the same vein as they used to have it.
Yeah, because I think what the major challenge, is, because we had one of the representatives here yesterday, is the fact that this policy, the implementation time is too close, is too short, is too sudden.
If you give room, more room than has been given now, you're going to negate the policy completely, because people who feel that they might be out of business would then take steps to undermine it, which would include flooding the market with a lot of stuff imported beforehand just to beat the measures. We need to be forced to do things the right way. No change comes without pain. This is one of those little changes that we need to go through, one of those little pains that we need to bear to have a much brighter future, to have an industry where we can start to do things for ourselves rather than just continuing to use foreign exchange to purchase goods that have been produced by other countries. Because we have people who are good and can do these things here. It's going to take time to get to that stage. People want to be prepared to bear the little pain of the moment to have much greater joys in the future.
Mr. Ogiagbe, do you share the same thought as well?
He's laid out the probably conceptual framework and the understanding behind the policy. But beyond that, the complaint from the agents are founded on the fact that duty is the geometric calculation in which you get pricing. So the immediate effect of price change would occur. And you're moving from a particular percentage to another percentage. So in the component in pricing, the duty element, which is on the cost and freight, which now goes to subcharge, and all other parameters in calculating the clearance of vehicle will be on that price. So there will be an outcry in terms of duty regime change. So there is a regime change from what you used to pay and to what you're paying. So my reaction certainly on the duties is just on the incidence about the just current incidence of price change due to regime. But otherwise, all other things in terms of the policies beyond duty, and which operators will key in at different stages. I don't know whether they offered an alternative into the framework, into the terms of when they want implementation. But if there are no alternative, we all live within a governance society. And so governance would take precedence over personal intention.
Okay, so what for you are the key merits of this policy?
Merits of policies are outlined in the policy documents. But then realization of those policies have been the issue. Will government take to heart full implementation of the policy guidelines. And we've, over the years, always had that issue whether when policy are churned out, whether as long as you go along, when you make sacrifices to obey the policies for those in the regular, in the industry, whether all the different aspects of those policies will be followed. That's probably concerns from those who are in the group have always expressed. Rather than issue about attacking policies in the realms of the gains of employability, technological transfer, technology accumulation, new product in the environment. It is not, we also feel strongly that our country should not be a dumping ground where we become a used country, where we are importing over 300,000 used vehicles as against 50,000. So we are not a used, we're predominantly almost becoming a used vehicle market. We think there should be a reversal of having new product because of the economic life value of vehicles. And moreover, you know that for commerce, in terms of trade, and the life of commerce is transportation, movement of goods and services. And you need to have vehicles that can do that job. So we're very concerned about reversing the role, making our market be a used market. We want it to flourish and develop along the new product line.
Yeah, but to ensure that it develops, and goes according to, the plan for the Industrial Revolution plan, we have to ensure that all parties are carried along. And so, looking at the developing of local assembly and local content now, how much of that has there been, Mr. Arumolora?
I'm aware that there was extensive consultation when this policy was being midwifed. It was on the drawing board for over 2 years. A lot of the stakeholders were brought together, various meetings were arranged where people's interests were taken cognizance of. So it would be tough to imagine that people did not see this coming. The issue was that people did not believe it would see the light of day. So they did nothing in terms of getting themselves prepared for it. A lot of people were taken aback when eventually it was passed by the Federal Reserve Council because they saw merit in it. So you must also agree with me that you cannot take along virtually all stakeholders, like the licensed customs agents that you mentioned. Their problem is momentary. In another 3 to 6 months, things will even out, and they'll stop having issues with this, because other things. There's never a vacuum in commerce. Other things would flow in to take the place, and they'll get over it.
So are the manufacturers ready for this change that we see? Are the manufacturers, do they have enough? Because there's this argument the capacity of manufacturers and assemblers has not been built up enough to encourage production.
It was never going to be there if there was no policy like this. So it had to start from somewhere. Secondly, people have had another 6 months now since it was supposed to have started to have reacted. There is enough capacity in this country. If, for instance, our total volume is about 400,000 a year, that would come from 4 or 5 manufacturers very easily. And we have quite a few that are already online, that are already producing, assembling cars in Nigeria. About 4 or 5 OEMs have, within the last 6 months, indicated that they are plans to start manufacturing here. So within a couple of months, I expect that this market will be buzzing with locally assembled cars.
Affordable cars?
Affordable. And that's where you need adjustments in the system. They become affordable when there is volume. If you are competing with 7, 8-year-old cars already used in other places, you are going to strangulate the market. So there was need to adjust the tariff to ensure that you could develop volume from the locally assembled cars such that the prices could be affordable.